You want to listen to a podcast?
By who?
Georgia GOP Congressman Doug Collins.
How is it?
The greatest thing I have ever heard in my whole life.
I could not believe my ears.
In this house, wherever the rules are disregarded, chaos and mob rule. It has been said today, where is bravery? I'll tell you where bravery is found and courage is found. It's found in this minority who has lived through the last year of nothing but rules being broken, people being put down, questions not being answered. And this majority say, be damned with anything else. We're going to impeach and do whatever we want to do. Why? Because we won an election. I guarantee you, one day you'll be back in the minority and it ain't gonna be that fun. Hey everybody, welcome to the podcast. Glad you're with us as we're going through the pre-summer edition of the Doug Collins podcast. Look, we got a lot of politics coming up, and we're going to be talking about it as we've had Matt Whitaker on. We've had a lot of other guests with the pollsters is coming up, but also we wanted to just have you as you're sort of slowing down, getting ready for the Memorial Day. We're getting ready for summer season. We're also going to have some fun, as I told you a few weeks ago. We've already dealt with talking about John Hughes flicks the other day. It turned into an awesome discussion with James and I. James is back today, and we're going to have a discussion on the 2024 movie season, the summer. Typically, this was always the big summertime rush when the movies, the blockbusters came out, the movies everybody wanted to go see. From when I was a kid, it was, you had Grease and you had Rocky, you had, these are just the big movies of the summer. Everybody liked to go see when they're out of school. So we're going to talk about the 2024 movie cycle and what's coming up. Also, I'm going to get into it. Maybe James is going to chime in on this. I read an interesting article the other day. I am not, and then we're going to get into a discussion of Marvel and DC. I've gotten into the Marvel stuff. I actually enjoyed it. My boys got me into it, and we watched them in order. I didn't realize that they were little clips at the end. Okay, yeah, I'm slow. I'm a boomer. Okay, I get it, but I'm an Xer. But we just watch movies for movies. But the DC ones I've never gotten into. And so I read an interesting article the other day that said that The Rock Johnson killed the DC universe, I guess with his movie Black Adam, which I have to admit, and I'll talk about this in a thing, we watched for 25 minutes and cut off because we just didn't follow it. It was just the most disjointed first 30 minutes of a movie I've ever seen in my life. And I've watched some pretty stupid movies. And this one just lost me. So we'll see about James, what his take is on The Rock actually possibly destroying the DC universe, what Marvel has coming up, because some of the woke Marvels haven't worked real well lately, and I think that's something we're going to have to deal with as we go forward. So, all with that, this is another fun edition of the Doug Collins podcast. Glad to have you with us as we go forward. We'll be right back right after the break. We are experiencing instability at every level. Our government lacks leadership, and Bidenomics has been a disaster. The economy is in a fragile state. Inflation has been a consistent issue. High interest rates have put significant pressure on the real estate market, and there have been major bank failures. And many analysts say a stock market correction is likely overdue. We have global conflicts in Europe and the Middle East that have potential to spread, but gold has soared to record highs even among the tensions. There are so many reasons that Americans should consider investments in gold and silver, and Legacy Precious Metals is the gold standard. I love Legacy Precious Metals because of their zero-hassle, education-first approach. They can help you roll your traditional IRA into a gold IRA or ship metals directly to your house. That's what I do. So go to www.legacypminvestments.com to download their free gold investment guide. And look, I've read it. You need to read it. There's so much valuable information in there. So, friends, now's the time to not roll the dice with your hard-earned money. Find out about the growth potential that gold and precious metals can offer you. Contact Legacy Precious Metals today and tell them that Doug Collins sent you. You might have heard Mike Lindell and MyPillow no longer have the support of the box stores or the shopping channels as the way they used to. They've been part of the cancel culture, so they want to pass the savings directly on to you by having a $25 extravaganza. When Mike started MyPillow, it was just one product company. With the help of his dedicated employees, they now have hundreds of products. Some of you may not even know about that. So to get the word out, I want to invite my listeners to check out the $25 extravaganza. 2-pack multi-pillow use MyPillows are just $25. MyPillow sandals, $25. Their 6-pack of towel sets, $25. Brand new 4-pack dish towels. You guessed it, just $25. And for the first time ever, the MyPillows with all new Giza fabric, just $25. All orders over $75 will see free shipping too. This amazing offer won't last long, so go to mypillow.com and use the promo code Collins, that's COLLINS, or call 800-986-3994 today. That's promo code Collins. All right, James, we're back.
We're back, baby.
And it is going. Hey, 2024 movie summer upon us. I always looked at movies. I don't know about you. We went to movies when I was a kid, especially by the time I got to high school. Of course, that became the big date. You'd always go to a movie on a date, that kind of thing. Yeah. The movies have, and when I was in Congress, and we'll tie this to Congress, the movie theaters and cycles were losing out, and there were a lot of discussion about the role of streaming and the role of other things. And then you had COVID. And when you had COVID, it was, literal death knell to many of your movie theaters. And what was it, 2 years ago? It was that everybody attributed, and I have to get this in from my beautiful bride, Top Gun Maverick, that basically was credited with reviving,
saving it, yeah,
saving the movie industry, if it was. And then you had on top of that, you had the Fast and Furious, which also came out, and then last summer, of course, was Barbenheimer. Okay, James, I've got a confession.
Are you going to say you didn't like or didn't see? Because either one is still disgusting.
Okay, here we go. Here's it is. We have watched Oppenheimer. Thought it was pretty good.
Pretty good movie.
Different. Even the sort of the under, you had to sort of follow it to keep up with what was going on, but it was good. I have still only watched 15 minutes of Barbie. Okay,
I'm not going to fight you on it because I don't think you need to see that movie. I don't think anyone needs to see that movie. I also don't think anyone needs to see any movie except for, I don't know, maybe
every guy has
Jurassic
to see
Park.
Every guy has to see either one or two of the Godfathers and a Rocky.
Sure. Maybe Goodfellas, Jurassic Park, that cool stuff. But Barbie was fun. It was a fun movie, but it wasn't like it was a fun movie. It was a good movie. All the people that got really political about it.
Yeah.
In my head, all I was thinking was like, really? Were you getting worried about a movie because they want women to have better whatever? Like, it was so unnecessarily angry. People were like, well, now they're promoting this. I'm promoting this. I'm like, they didn't promote anything. I know that people get upset about, and we'll talk about it later, with certain movies like jamming, women into roles maybe they don't need to be, or guys into roles they don't need to be, all that stuff, because it's unnecessary. This was not unnecessary. This was just a movie about Barbies. And if you took it too hard, you took it to heart, go home, write on your little keyboard in your mom's basement and type about nonsense, about how angry you are that their men weren't represented correctly in this movie. Get over yourself. It's okay. You're going to be all right. It's a movie about Barbies and hot people. I mean,
yeah. Well,
right?
yeah. Again, my part was, it was, and again, I'd heard a little bit like that. I wasn't all that into it. And it was just, and I just said,
you're not to like it.
But here's the thing. Lisa was the same way. We were both watching it, and we said, what are we doing?
Yeah, you don't like it. You don't have to like it. Who cares?
Yeah, like some people like
you go on Twitter the next day and start yelling about it? No, you know why? Because you just watched the movie you didn't like.
Yeah, it was just bad.
Now, there are certain movies you're not allowed to say you didn't like if you didn't like Rocky, the worst movie ever made. So we can argue about that all day, but
yeah, that's illegal.
It is, and I'm going to fight everyone to the death on that one, and I stand by my thing that, it doesn't matter. Let's not get into that again. It's probably been saved and written multiple times on this show.
Yeah.
But the blockbusters this summer, if we want to get into them, there's a couple. There's one that I think is going to be the big summer movie, and that's going to be the Deadpool Wolverine movie. I think that's going to take over the summer.
So when is it supposed to come out?
So I'm looking here. I don't see the actual date for it. By the way, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, if you haven't seen the other ones, the newest versions, watch them all. They're incredible. Apparently the new one is unbelievable.
Now look, it sort of hit early. It's the start, and the one before, I think Fall Guy was one that everybody thought was going to be good because it had the Barbie folks in it. It didn't do as well, but
I heard it was a good movie. It just didn't do as well.
Right.
Sure.
But you got the Kingdom Planet. Now look, and I think we sort of mentioned this the other day. This Kingdom of Planet of the Apes is sort of like a remake if you go back to the 70s version of some of this. But I think it also takes into account the newer ones that were there. I've heard it. I mean, it blew the doors off in its release. And 50.
Have you seen the other three? The first three?
Okay, when you say first three.
Sorry. The first three of this specific this run from 2010 up.
No, I have not seen any of them.
Doug, if you will, I mean this so sincerely. They are some of the best movies I've ever watched, especially as a trilogy, because that's hard to find. Let's be honest. John Wick's done it pretty well. Obviously, we'll talk again. You said we talk about Marvel, but the way they did theirs was unbelievable.
Yeah.
But this is totally worth watching. I recommend it 1,000%. I'm gonna go see this movie when I come back, maybe for a day or whatever while I'm here. But these movies, they knock it out of the park. The CGI is so good, you forget that you're not watching real apes do stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not even kidding.
I mean, I've seen some of it. There's also going to be another one coming out. If you like, and we do a lot of pop culture. That's why, we have Friday's Finest and everything else. An interesting movie. I'd love to see. And in some ways, I want to see how they do it. It's going to be the movie's called Back to Black, and it's Amy Winehouse music biop. And
ooh, that's going to be sad as hell.
Yeah, it could be, but it's the journey from adolescence to adulthood.
Honestly,
yeah,
one of the saddest stories, but also like what a powerful impact she had for that 5-year run, where it felt like she was everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it was everywhere. Well, here's another one I think that's gonna take on an interesting run, and that is, and it comes out. It has a it has Memorial Day weekend on it, so they're putting it up, and that's Furioso, a Mad Max saga.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's gonna blow the doors off everybody.
I think so. You got Chris Hemsworth in there, and Chris is okay. Have you noticed Chris Hemsworth? If you've watched the trailer of this one, that Chris Hemsworth is acting a lot like what's his name? Who does Aquaman? And he was in Fast and Furious.
Yeah, you're killing me right now that I forgot his name. Wow, this is embarrassing for both of us.
Yeah, it is. I wish
I'm going to do this real quick because this is super embarrassing because I was just watching one of his.
You got a commercial on TV. Yeah.
Aquaman 2. You know what? We're just going to do that anyway. The cast is, and this is super embarrassing, Jason Momoa.
Jason Momoa. There you go.
You know what? I'm going to cut that out. I don't even care. I'm taking that. We don't deserve that hate right now. But.
Okay. Here we go. Click. The Furioso is drawing a lot of comparison to Chris Hemsworth actor. Is making some similar looks as the Jason Momoa character out of Aquaman, especially for his role in the Fast and Furious, in that sort of
awesome in that movie.
Yeah, that sort of eccentric, over the top villain.
Chris Hemsworth is going to knock this out of the park. Chris Hemsworth's been in some bad movies, but it's never been him, in my opinion. Every time he apologized for the most recent Thor movie, and we all moved on from it. Taika Waititi's got to take some responsibility, and you know that you should. But Chris Hemsworth, I think, is going to knock us out of the park, and also Anna Taylor-Joy is just good at everything. So
yeah, I got a funny one that I'll probably never go see until it gets on Netflix. And may not watch then is Garfield the movie. You got one coming out.
I won't see it. Not after what they did the first one. No,
I didn't. Okay, so see, I didn't even know there was a first one.
It's going to be the first one has Bill Murray in it.
Okay. This one has Samuel L. Jackson and Chris Pratt.
Samuel Jackson and Chris Pratt, which is the craziest 1-2 punch of all time for an animated movie. That's absurd.
All right, here's one that I'm gonna have to be honest. I want to see, maybe either for the train wreck or for just interest personality, and that is coming up on June 7th. Bad Boys, Ride or Die.
It should have stopped after the first two, you know?
Well, yeah, but they didn't.
Yeah, listen, that's what today's
They
movies
came
are.
out with Bad Boys for
recycling.
Life. And
They
now,
did the third one, right? Like 2 years ago?
Yeah, 17-year absence, 2020, they did Bad Boys for Life, which was actually, I mean, it was okay. I mean,
Wasn't the worst movie I've ever seen.
Here's my problem. I can come from a generation that here. I think this is the biggest thing. An ex-generationer who's closer, in the 60s. I go to movies many times to be entertained.
Sure,
Okay?
100%. I'm with you.
If I'm lucky enough to have a movie, oh, by the way, I have to tell you about this one. If I'm lucky enough to have a movie that challenges me in thinking or inspires me, that's just bonus. Okay.
Sure.
If you've not seen The Holdovers.
Oh, Doug, my heart.
That was I watched it the other day. Lisa and I watched it the other night for the first time. Such a good movie. I mean, and I saw all the Oscar buzz about it earlier this year, and I didn't get it because I hadn't seen it. And it was like, what is all this? And so we were going to watch it, figuring we probably would make 30 minutes of it. Ended up watching the entire thing. Paul Giamatti, the whole cast. I mean, it brought me back. It had Dead Poet Society vibes in it.
Yes, 100%.
It was so good, so good. So, folks, if you've held off, and it was a movie that didn't get a lot of play on the box office, but got lots of awards. If you haven't seen The Holdovers, go do it. It's on Netflix for free, so go look at it.
Now, there's two movies here that I want to talk about, and if I jumped over any, please feel free to jump back at. But The Bike Riders, have you seen the trailer for this one yet?
I haven't seen The Bike Riders, Cheryl.
So The Bike Riders is basically about like a biker gang from the 60s, 50s, somewhere in that area. I'm not 100%. And it's Tom Hardy and it's Austin Butler, a.k.a. Elvis. Yes, he still has the voice. Leave him alone. But yeah, it's they're like a biker gang. I love those kind of movies. Kind of not a biography, but it's like of a time. It's a period. I guess technically it's a period piece.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they're basically going to be like like Hell's Angels. I don't know if you watch Sons of Anarchy, one of the best shows ever made.
Watched a little bit of it, yeah.
That's one of my favorites. So I'm super excited for that. And then, of course, and Deadpool and Wolverine is going to be the summer hit in July. Hold on, I know it's coming somewhere. July 26th.
Yeah, so they're going late summer with that. That's interesting.
Oh, there's one in between there that we need to talk about.
What's that?
Because this is a movie from when I was 3. So the original is Twister. Now there's 2 Twisters.
Yeah, well, is it actually the Twister remake?
It's technically a remake, I think. I'm okay with it because it's just super handsome Glenn Powell, and I don't know who else is in this. Hold on, Twisters.
Wait, Glenn Powell has another one coming out.
Well, Glenn Powell has 150 movies coming out.
Well, he's got also the one that's the Hitman that they're saying is actually pretty good as well.
Glenn Powell is about to take over the world. He is in the Timothée Chalamet category right now, just pumping out movies, and I'm okay with that because.
Yeah. Okay. So this is a remake of the original.
So it is considered a remake. Okay.
A whole generation will enjoy the thrill of chasing deadly. This is the Helen Hunt, Bill Paxton. Movie.
Yeah. Rest in peace, Bill. Right? Bill Paxton passed away. Am I right about that?
I think he did. Yeah. In July 19th. July 19th.
Yeah, I'm excited for this. I love these kind of. Doug, if there's a movie you can sign me up for 1,000 times out of 1,000, it's a disaster movie. Because there's nothing you can't. It's so hard to make a bad one. Like if I see Gerard Butler in a movie, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch that because he's definitely gonna go save the day. Like it doesn't matter.
Well, that's sort of like what we're going to discuss here in a few minutes about The Rock. I mean, San Andreas, all those others. I mean, you just watch them. I mean, because
it doesn't matter. I mean, they're trash. You know what it is? I don't want to call them a guilty pleasure, but it kind of is. Where you're just like that. Disaster movies are like eating like a bunch of chocolate bars in a row. You're just like, this isn't good for me, but I need to sit here and finish this because it's complete nonsense and it makes me happy.
I've got you one that's it's actually out on Netflix now, and I didn't know this, so I guess I have to go back and watch this for the summer. And this is also trying to get used to this, that actually they're putting movies out to Netflix.
Yes, all you old people get used to it.
Theaters. The Unfrosted, the story of the Pop-Tart.
Okay, I am only going to tell you from what I've heard from the people that I listened to, Lights, Camera, Barstool from Barstool Sports. Them and a bunch of other people have said this movie is absolute trash.
Really?
It's not. It's like a million jokes a minute, and none of them land. Is how it was described.
Oh, really? Well, I mean, you look at this. It's got Seinfeld, Michelle McCarthy, Jim
It's got
Gaffigan,
a
Amy
huge
Schumer.
cast.
Yeah,
I think Amy Schumer is probably what people, because everyone wants to hate on Amy Schumer. I don't know what she did. I genuinely don't remember what she did that pissed everybody off so much. But obviously, people don't like her. But I don't think that's the reason the movie stunk. I think the movie stunk because Seinfeld hasn't made a good movie before.
yeah.
Right?
Well, he's not. He's not a bit. It's hard to roll over from the small screen to the big screen.
Yeah, he did the B movie, and it was a god-awful movie, but you watched it because it's Seinfeld. And listen, I don't have Netflix yet. I'll get it when I'm on the road or something. But
yeah. Well, Hitman is also another one. That was the other Glenn Powell movie, and it's a Netflix, straight to Netflix one as well. But it's supposedly like an actual, one that is sort of a halfway true. It's based on a true story kind of thing.
Yeah, I think the idea is that he's not really a hitman.
Right, he's not. And he was
He
helping
tricks
the
people
FBI.
into he tricks people into getting arrested. Essentially.
Yeah, and then he gets drawn into something. So
Yeah, of course. And listen, there's no denying if somebody's a pretty good actor and handsome, the movies are going to come. They're gonna blow up. That's just the way it is. It's the same with if you're attractive and the movie's halfway decent and you're good and you're a decent actor, you're going to get a million more movies. Glenn Powell proved it in the movie that we just we talked about earlier. Why am I blanking out on Top Gun? The resurgence of Top Gun, and he blew up from there. Good for him.
Yeah. Well, you've also got Kevin Costner taking the step out of Yellowstone and staying in the Western genre, which a lot of people know him from. To me, Kevin Costner is known for the Western drama or the baseball movie.
Baseball specifically. No other terrible sports movie that he may or may not.
Well, he did make one called Draft Day that was pretty good. But other than that,
yeah. Okay.
Horizon, an American Saga, is actually a two-parter.
I'm in. It already signed me up. I don't care. Anything if it's Western and it's got Kevin Costner in it, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, it is. He's coming. This one's gonna be released. Chapter 1's released June 28th. Chapter 2 released on my birthday, August 16th. So it covers sets the course of the Civil War in the Old West. It goes back to his days of dancing with wolves and all that, and open range, that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Oh, so Tyler Perry's got a movie coming out. What a surprise. Tyler Perry will never run out of money, and good for him forever.
No. Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, I am so skeptical of this one. If they're not all in it,
what's
the point?
3 was bad.
3 was not bad. 3 was horrendous.
Yeah, well, yeah.
3 was like using a cheese grater to clean your arms. Like, it was the worst thing
The whole thing didn't make sense. I mean, you went to this amusement park. It was
forced. It felt forced.
Well, it had like Axel Foley going to meets Chevy Chase in National Lampoon's Vacation.
Yeah, it wasn't a good idea. And listen, they needed he probably was contractually obligated to do it. But my only fear is, and this could just be me, I saw Coming to America 2.
I actually like that.
I hated it. So maybe we'll have different perspectives, right? Maybe you'll actually like this movie and I'll hate it again. Or, the other way around. But as long as everyone's in it, if I don't see Judge Reinhold for 35 plus minutes of this movie, I am out.
Well, Judge Reinhold is in it.
I know he's in it, and they showed him in the commercial for like a second.
Kevin Bacon and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
You know what? That's a good cast. Joseph Gordon-Levitt can act, and Kevin Bacon gets to do whatever he wants for the rest of his life.
Bronson Pinochet is Serge.
Who is?
Bronson Pinochet is back as Serge. Remember Serge?
Okay, got it.
Serge. No, do with that. John Ashton. They can't bring back the original. They came back 2 of the original cops because both of them have died.
Yeah, that's fine. Let's see. Oof. Oh,
Yeah.
Paul Reiser. All right, first of all, we need to study the resurgence of Paul Reiser.
Is he going to be
Paul
in this?
Reiser has been in like 12 things in the last like 4 years.
Yeah,
He
is
was
he gonna be in
dead
this
as a
one?
doornail.
Yeah. Is he going to be in this one?
It's what it says. He's going to be. He's in. He was in the first one. He was the guy that was bothering Axel Foley.
Yeah, he was in both the first two.
Yeah. This looks like a pretty solid group of people. Listen, I'm gonna give it a try because my childhood is Eddie Murphy, but
Yeah, I agree. Let's see. You got some others here. Again, Kevin Bacon's showing up in a lot of stuff this summer. We got the slasher stuff going on. Fly Me to the Moon. This is a Channing Tatum flick. Get your date nights out here. The moon landing conspiracy theorists are all excited. Fly Me to the Moon is set during the space race of the 60s. Follows the relationship between NASA director and the marketing strategist. As problems mount for NASA, it seems like they could certainly go wrong massive launch. John is assigned to create a fake moon landing just in case things go wrong.
I like that. That'll be fun. And
Yeah,
it's
that'll be interesting. Yeah.
who else is in it? Oh, this is another movie of just hot people. Scarlett Johansson, Channing Tatum, and Chris Evans. Well, Woody Harrelson's in it.
Woody Harrelson, yeah. Ray Romano.
And Ray Romano?
Yeah.
Oh, Jim Rash. If you've ever watched Community, Jim Rash is one of the funniest people on the planet.
So that one will be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, here's Twisters. We get in July. Deadpool Wolverine. That's going to be – this one is the one they – the only funny thing about this is part of the Deadpool appeal is Ryan Reynolds always makes fun. We only get this. This is what you give us. Marvel, can we get somebody?
Yeah, I hope that part is that he still complains about getting everything. I think that's going to be the bit of it because I'm glad they made it very clear this is not going to be a kids movie. They're like, we don't care that it's Disney. It doesn't matter to us. We're just going to make this our own.
Yeah.
And he'll continue to do that. And the fact that Hugh Jackman has agreed to reprise his role after being like, I don't want to do this anymore. Good for him too. I'm happy they're doing it.
And this is where I have to, it's hilarious because this is where we take the step out for my boys, and they actually had to, I had to learn about the Marvel universe, if you would, and I had no idea that Deadpool was a part of the Marvel universe.
Correct.
And really didn't connect going back. And this is something for you to do. If you ever have a chance to do this, you can go back on and do them in order, which is really weird because some of them don't look like they're in order.
So cool.
Cameron, I'll shout out to Bo, who by this time, by the way, I'll just put this out on the, when this is out by now, everybody, if they know our family, I have one that got married last year, Copeland and Holly. I have a daughter-in-law named Holly, and now Cameron has proposed to his fiancee, Maddie, and so we're looking forward to a wedding in the future.
All right. So I just found out I got invited to a wedding. You
got a wedding coming up, bud. So anyway.
That's awesome. Congratulations, Doug. That's great.
But Bo, of course, for those who know me, they know Cameron is Bo. But he walked us through, and we watched for it seemed like a month, where we would do one in a row, and then we'd always stay for the end. And I didn't realize this on the Marvel, that at the end of the movie, correct, they tipped you off to what was in the next movie.
Yeah. People sat, I remember when it first started happening, and every Marvel movie you went through, the credits would roll, and you'd see, as people found out about the movies, it would just be a packed theater with 10 minutes to pass the movie ending. Yeah. And you're like, oh, I guess we're all in on the same thing here.
Yeah, and you know what? A movie that actually jumped onto that is the series was the Fast and Furious.
Well, they had to because they're going to make 75 more movies, even though I know they say there's only one left. Vin Diesel is lying to us.
Well, the interesting part is the interesting part right now is I know that they're supposedly shooting or have been shooting the second one, but we know that The Rock is in it.
Yeah, okay. Can we just talk about him at this point?
And we're going to get to it here in a second. But what I'm saying is, The Rock is so visible, it's easy to tell when he's doing movies.
Correct.
And nothing. He's not put anything out about being it. So I'm wondering how much of that they shot as the twosome. You know what I'm saying? They sort of like they did with the Marvel ending. You know, a quote ending.
They shot it
they
all.
shot them all at the same time. And so I'm wondering if that's what they did, 3 years ago or 2 years ago with the Fast two-parter here to end it. So because right now Rock is making an MMA flick about this guy.
About a former MMA fighter.
Yeah. So anyway, but this does take us to an so we've hit the Marvel, Deadpool, Wolverine, which I had to learn. This is the way it all goes. Marvel's hit some hard times here recently. The Disney influence. You had.
It's a good run, man.
It's been a great run.
You know what I compare it to? It's the run of Westerns in the early 50s into the late 70s, right? Once you got into the mid 60s, late 70s, probably closer to the 70s, besides Clint Eastwood, some of those movies were, horrible. Just the worst Westerns you've ever seen.
Well, it's called the spaghetti
for that long.
That's where the whole term spaghetti Western came out of the 60s. All right, here now let's put this in perspective here, okay? And again, you have to understand this for all of you out there who understand it, you get it and everything else. But the Infinity Saga, which was the Phase 1, 08 through 12, that was Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, the First Avenger, and then Marvel's The First Avengers. Okay. Then you go into the 2013, 2015, you had Iron Man 3, Thor, Dark World, Captain America, the Winter Soldier, which I met the brothers who were the directors of that flick. They're pretty good guys.
Really?
Yes. Good
That's
dude.
Awesome. The Russo brothers?
Yeah, Russo brothers. Yeah. Had them in my office. Guardians of the Galaxy, which was the first. This was, by the way, if you're really curious about Guardians of the Galaxy, that's when Chris Pratt left Park and Rec.
Yeah, it's my favorite movie.
Guardians of the Galaxy is great. Then you had Avengers. Then it became Age of Ultron, and then Ant-Man shows up, and then you get the last. You get the next adventure, and of course, Captain America, Doctor Strange, Guardians 2, Spider-Man, Thor, Ragnarok, Black Panther, Avengers, Infinity War, and Ant-Man Wasp, Captain Marvel, Avengers Endgame, and then Spider-Man Far From Home, which Spider-Man takes on its whole.
Yeah, it takes on its own, yes.
Yeah, it takes on everything.
So those three phases were essentially perfect.
Yeah,
there's some bad movies in there. You don't have to like them all, but that whole thing is essentially perfect.
Then you started, a downhill slide. Okay,
it's hard to do though, Doug. There's a couple good ones in Phase 4, but not a lot.
Well, Black Widow.
The problem with Black Widow is there were no stakes. You knew she was going to make it out.
Yeah, and that's part of the issue here is you go backwards. Right. Shang-Chi and Legend of Ten Rings.
That movie rocked.
Yeah.
You get a chance to see that one. That one was great.
Yeah, okay. Eternals, which was
terrible.
Then you had Spider-Man No Way Home. Now,
awesome.
My boy, especially Bo, geeked out on that one. He loved that one. Had all of them coming back and everything else. Doctor Strange, again, Doctor Strange plays such an interesting role in all of this.
Yeah, that one was a weird movie because that's the one with the Scarlet Witch, right?
Yeah, the multiverse.
And that led to some of their TV shows, and that's part of the problem for me is it just got too convoluted. Yeah. But anyway.
Then you had Thor, Love and Thunder. And
which is terrible.
And then you had Black Panther, Wakanda. And now you're into we're into Phase 5 here. You got Ant-Man and Wasp, Quantumania.
Not good.
Which was interesting. Then you had Guardians of the Galaxy 3 last year, which was actually really
that one made me cry. I saw that in theaters alone. I cried for like 20 minutes.
Yeah, you just cried. Then you got the Marvels, which was a flop.
Which is too bad, too, because I heard a lot of people saw it and they were like, it wasn't as bad as you thought it was. It just had nobody wanted to see it.
Well, no, because it got tagged with that, kind of thing. Then you had you got Captain America. Now, this summer is coming back again, okay? And
this is going to be with blanking on his name right now, but whoever played the Falcon plays Captain America.
Marvel New World Order.
Yeah.
And then Thunderbolts, which, again, that's coming out in December. You got the Avengers are coming back, by the way, in 26 and 27. What is interesting is I'm not sure they've tagged this right. I'm looking at a list here. I think Deadpool 3 they have it for next year, and it's actually they moved it up to this year.
Yeah. So the Captain America movie has got, let's see, Harrison Ford, Seth Rollins, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan. Anthony Mackie is going to play Captain America. Liv Tyler is back, which is great.
Well, he takes over for
Chris.
Chris
Pine. Not Pine. What's his name?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans, yeah.
Yeah. Well, see, you've lost Chris Evans. You've lost Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah. I mean, you can't replace. I mean, they had such a long run. I think there's the other part where it's like, maybe it's just sometimes people are just sick of superhero movies. It's possible. All right. I'm telling you right now, it's possible for us. The show that I can always watch is The Boys because it's violent and horrifying and everything that, every people hold dear, they destroy. But outside of that, it's hard to keep watching comic book movies.
Yeah, well, it's going to be interesting to see if they can bring back, or if they need to bring back in Avengers in 26 and 27, if they bring back
some of the old, yeah,
or they bring back Robert Downey. Which, by the way, I watched him in Oppenheimer. I mean,
it's upsetting how good of an actor he is and how much of his career got wasted. Now that you're looking at it, right? Maybe it had to happen. Otherwise, we wouldn't get what we got.
Yeah.
But man, what an actor!
The '80s, Robert Downey Jr. was the goof. I mean,
right?
And drug addict, and this Less Than Zero is a horrifying movie of life in California high school rich kids with no control, and Robert Downey Jr. plays what he was in real life, and that was a stoned, just a very demented guy.
Yeah.
It's a disturbing movie.
Sure.
With and again, somebody who came out of that. It's interesting. Two characters came out of that time frame that really have interesting careers now, but had really interesting careers that are just opposed very differently. One is James Spader. James Spader played the rich sort of prick, if you would. I guess the only way I know to describe it. In the 80s in some of these movies, and now he transitioned into much more interesting comical roles, but also very serious roles. Boston Legal, The Secretary, but then you get Blacklist, which by the way, Blacklist is
somebody. I waited too long to watch The Blacklist. I love that show. I'm just gonna do a huge rewatch this year on that.
It is amazing.
Listen, towards the end, it fizzled out because all good shows eventually do if they have to.
It does. It's just harder and harder to keep.
But the first 5-6 seasons of that show are chef's kiss.
Yeah, it was, and then Robert Downey Jr. is the same way.
Yeah,
he comes from those '80s flicks to where Robert Downey's one of the Robert Downey's is one of the highest. Has been in movies as one of the highest.
Grossing
actors ever.
I mean, Marvel is the world. It was the world for a really long time.
Yeah,
it really was.
So it'll be interesting to see if they bring that back as we go. Look, let's dig into this though, because I am not a DC guy. So the DC stuff, yeah. But why is it? And my boys have tried to explain this to me, and both of them will say it's that they never had a theme. That they were always just one-offs and were awful.
It never felt like they were leading to the Justice League until they did. And then that was terrible. And we got one, they had to do a remake of it. I don't want to see the remake. I watched it. I mean, the uncut version.
Yeah.
Show me that first if that's the better movie. They were all, listen,
when you have and you have you have to go on what you actually have. And
you also have the best characters. You had all the well-known characters. You had Superman, Batman, Aquaman, The Flash, Wonder Woman. And Green Lantern, which you screwed up multiple times.
Yeah, they screwed up Green Lantern multiple times. They've also, and it's sort of funny because Ryan Reynolds is the crossover there, and had that. And there's some absolutely outstanding Green Lantern jokes in Deadpool, by the way.
Oh, they're so good.
I mean, the only part about Deadpool is, and look, and I warn you if you're listening to this and you have, ears. I mean, look, the Deadpool movies are rough in many ways. Okay. They're rough in language. They're rough in others. And I'm warning you up about that. But, there's some of the clips from it are just hilarious.
Yeah. Listen, if it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. Right. No. But if you like that kind of stuff, it is. And for me, I love it. It is one of the funniest movies, both of them. Some of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Yep, I don't disagree. But that leads us to the DC seem to be having trouble completely. And then all of a sudden you bring in and The Rock, Dwayne Johnson built it up. I mean, if you watched his social media, he talked about his diet and how he was becoming the biggest and baddest he's ever been. Yeah. And then you have the movie Black Adam.
No.
And it's like,
I sat through the entire thing, Doug.
I'm sorry.
You said you made it, what, 25 minutes through?
Yeah, about 25. And I didn't understand it. I was lost.
It was a movie to get lost on. It was pointless. The problem is that DC does not. Marvel had a direction, but it's not just that. There was something connecting to something, and it was well done intricately, and it was beautiful. And I'd say DC probably has like 2 or 3 good movies in my opinion. I thought Man of Steel was really good. I thought the first Wonder Woman was excellent. The second one was a train wreck. And when they showed the Snyder cut of Justice League, and the first Aquaman was passable, but everything else was worse than anything Marvel's put out, it feels like. And then they threw Black Adam in there, and The Rock, I don't know anything about him, but I feel like he is persona of like this great guy. It seems like people are coming out against that a lot. Am I wrong? Or am I the only one hearing that?
No, I think you're seeing that a little bit. It's the exposure issue. He's overexposed.
It's what happened to Kevin Hart, but at least Kevin Hart's never been deemed a bad guy, where I'm hearing like The Rock fights with Vin Diesel, The Rock fought with Ryan Reynolds on Red Notice. The Rock.
I haven't heard that one. Oh, that's
yeah, I just heard that recently, and like The Rock doesn't want to do this and doesn't want to do that, and he shows up like 5 hours late to things, and it's like.
And see, that's the actual opposite of the persona.
Right, exactly.
Of everything you've heard before.
Right, and I don't know. I mean, obviously the Vin Diesel thing was disgusting. Like, that got so out of hand, then you're like, oh, maybe Vin Diesel's the bad guy. But maybe The Rock just, like, is a little entitled. And maybe he has the right to be. I don't know. I'm not.
I will say this. He is a big dude. I have been. Yeah,
he's a giant.
I had the. Do you remember in the Fast and Furious when it was probably 9, I guess, when they had the baby?
Is The Rock in it?
Yes.
So it's either the 5th, 6th, or 7th one, I guess. Because he's not in anything after 7, I don't think.
He was in the one on the island.
The most recent one is I don't know if he's in Fast 9. I could be. There's the one where he's in. Oh, that's the one with him and Jason Statham alone, right?
No, that's the newest one. There was one, and I have to go back, and I can't remember. Anyway, it ended, and they were supposedly in New York. This was Kurt Russell. They brought this all back. Anyway, all of those people don't know were shot in Atlanta. Okay, all of the Fast and Furious movies were shot in Atlanta. This was the movie in which they went to. What do you call it? They had the Dubai. This was the Dubai one.
Oh, okay. I know which one you're talking about. That might be like 5 or 6.
Yeah, well, it ended, and that's just hard to believe because I didn't think it was that long ago. But anyway,
I know.
But that they did. But anyway, we saw the ending of that, and it was funny. You would have to see where it was at. It was on this basically a deck that they built in this warehouse in Atlanta. We watched the filming of that episode, that last few scenes with Ludacris and all the rest. Met Ludacris's mom.
What?
Yeah. Pretty cool.
Ludacris, it's crazy that like people don't know. Like, I grew up with Ludacris.
Yeah.
And people joke that he, like, 10 years ago they were joking that he was your mom's favorite rapper, and I was like, oh, don't make me feel old 10 years ago.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
his mom was on the set and everything else, so it's pretty cool. But anyway, do you think Black Adam ruined the DC series?
No, I think they were already ruined, and Black Adam put the cherry on the top for everyone to be like, yeah, we're not watching another movie.
There's no way to bring it back. In fact, I would never associate.
Completely start from scratch. Nothing. Everybody's new. They're doing the new Superman movie, and maybe that'll shed some light on something.
But isn't Superman dead?
Superman's dead. Superman's alive. You get to do whatever you want in these movies. They're starting from scratch. It's all new. But the thing is, James Gunn, the man who ran what's the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise has taken over, and I think that's where they hope he'll be able to revitalize Superman and start from there. He did the second Suicide Squad, the good one with John Cena and Idris Elba. I think maybe they're hoping he'll bring that to them because that was actually a good movie, but it was also surrounded by Aquaman 2, which might be worse than, I don't know, think of a movie that made you want to quit watching movies, because that's pretty much it.
Yeah, it was some bad ones in there. It was a get it. Well, I think folks, there's a lot to go see this summer, all the way through the summer. We get into the fall.
Absolutely. We'll talk about them when we see them, because I'm going to go see as many as I can.
Yeah, we'll do this. I mean, toward the end of the summer, you get Romulus, you get Alien is back. Again, a lot of interesting remixes this year going forward. And, you know, Channing Tatum's back in some movies. Blink Twice. You got The Crow. And that gets you through the summer. And you'll have, of course, there'll be some movies toward the end for Labor Day weekend and everything else. But that's just a good preview of movies to go see. You've got Despicable 4. Me 4 is actually coming out.
Sign me up. Anything that man does, sign me up.
It is going to be pretty funny. So a lot's going on. So folks, take your time, go out and have a movie. You know, go out and experience it. There's a lot that has changed in the movie industry over the years. A lot of your theaters now, you have the dine-in theaters. There's so much, and I just encourage you to go out there. It's a valuable. The American film industry is one of our true, I won't say inventions. People will take offense to that because they did a lot in Europe before America, but it's almost like.
It's like baseball. It's a staple.
It's baseball. It's us. The movie industry is us. And, it would be a shame to see it go away. So, anyway, go out there, have a great time during the summer with movies. James and I will keep you up with it, and we'll get Chip involved later on Friday's Finest with some of these movies as we go. But that's where we're at for the day. So, take time. We'll see you next time on the Doug Collins Podcast.